Substandard Organization of Nigeria was established in 1971. It is the body vested with the responsibility of standardizing and regulating the quality of all products in Nigeria. The SON verifies that products to be imported into Nigeria are in conformity with the applicable NIS or approved equivalents and technical regulations before shipment. It also ensures that locally manufactured products in Nigeria give the required degree of satisfaction to consumers through compliance with government policies on standardization. The Director General of the Standard Organization of Nigeria, Dr. Joseph Odumodu, joins me today on View from the Top, and I'd like to welcome him. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, ma'am.
And a warm welcome to you too. Thanks for joining us. Let's quickly get acquainted with my guest before we launch into our conversation. Dr. Odumodu was born on December 30, 1957. He holds a first-class degree in pharmacy from the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, and a Master of Science in Pharmacology. He also holds a Master of Business Administration from the Enugu State University of Technology. In 2008, he was awarded a doctorate in administration by the Anambra State University. In 1986, Dr. Odumodu joined pharmaceutical company May & Baker Nigeria PLC as a medical marketing manager and rose to the exalted position of Managing Director, Chief Executive in 1997. He was appointed Director General, Standard Organization of Nigeria in 2011 and was reappointed for another 4-year term in 2014. He's a member of the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, a Fellow Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Fellow West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, Member Commonwealth Pharmaceutical Association. Sir, there used to be several fronts in the battle against substandard products. There were the powerful cabals who traded in these products, the companies which ignored them, the law enforcement agents who aided and abetted the culprits, and the ignorant or unsuspecting consumers who took anything that was offered. Give us a sense of the journey from where we were in 1971 when this agency was set up and where we are now.
I think generally the problem of counterfeiting was not a big problem in the 70s. I think it came with the big brands that came into Nigeria, and then with the boom, that we had also in our economy. So people started looking for ways of eating out of the successful brands that were coming in from abroad. I do recall, for example, in the pharma industry, that it was actually about the 70s that we recorded the first counterfeit pharmaceutical product in Nigeria. So that gives you an idea of how far we've gone. But what has happened has been that we are in a system where there's a very high level of unawareness on the part of the consumers. And so the business became stronger and stronger, and we also had a fairly weak regulatory framework, and that was not able to challenge those people who were, for me, infringing on intellectual properties of other people. But I think if I look at the more recent, say, 20 years, it became really a big problem because there was the emergence of new business people. Because if you saw your boss leave off counterfeiting products, and then you get free and you have to get to do the same thing as your boss. And so there are more and more people who came into that business. And then also the emergence of the stronger economies in Asia. Because today, for example, over 90% of these products are coming from Asia. So we were in a milieu, for example, where we didn't have substandard products coming in from Europe and America as much as what we have today coming in from Asia. So that actually, for me, is kind of a background of where we have come from, from the 70s, till today.
As you just confirmed, more than 90% of substandard goods in Nigeria are brought from countries from abroad. And China is reputed to be the #1 origin of substandard products. Please give us an update on the trade harmonization agreement you were trying to sign with the Chinese government.
When I came to SON in 2011, we quickly conducted what we called a baseline study because we needed to measure the impact of our intervention. And actually, that was when we saw that we were actually in an epidemic. The problem was of epidemic proportion, because over 80% across all categories that we checked, electronics, toys, they all had a preponderance of substandard products. So one of the outcomes of that research also was that most of those products were imported. In fact, over 80% of the products were imported, and that most of them also came from Asia. And that was why, because China is the biggest economy from Asia, we felt that if we were able to resolve the problem with China, we would have, to a large extent, solved the problem of substandard products coming into Nigeria. So we engaged the Chinese government at various levels. And has it been very successful? I would say that we've made a lot of progress, but we have not reached the target.
What are the sticking points?
The second point, for example, our position had been that if, for example, we test a product and found it to be substandard, we had provided in our own MOU that that product should be re-exported at the cost of the manufacturer, and that in addition, the person would refund the FOB value to the Nigeria. And then, of course, there will be a blacklisting of the company within the territory that we're talking about. We noticed that my Chinese colleagues were not very excited about it. And I must say, one of the things that I was very emphatic about was Nigeria was suffering all the damages in terms of the products could be deleterious to the health of the Nigerians. Some of them actually could kill. But more importantly, every time we intercepted those products and destroyed them, it was Nigeria's wealth that we were destroying. Because the Nigerians who bought these goods abroad did not pay with fake dollars and all that. So, if you look at it holistically, we were the losers. And so the guys who are gaining were not in a hurry to stop the process, apparently. And for me, what we have tried to do now is to look again at our Nigerian system, because we must help ourselves. Nobody's going to come to Nigeria to help us.
Chinese products are exported to the United States.
That's right.
But they are top quality.
Some of them, yes.
Most of them.
Some of them.
What is the difference?
Why I say some of them also is that today, there are a lot more substandard products in the US and in Europe. There are some shops you would go to over there. I mean, traditionally, I'm sure you've traveled abroad and you saw the £1 shop, $1 shop. It's traditionally a substandard products market, growing, and they are getting bigger and bigger. And the fact is, if you get into a shop and you find what would normally cost $5 for $1, come on, you know that something must have gone wrong. So that's, but the point is that it's not just a Nigerian thing, it's not an African thing, it's now world over. And a lot of countries are beginning to put up measures to stop these products from coming in. Because there are very few substandard products that are made in Nigeria. And when they are made in Nigeria, they are usually of very small quantities, less than 5% of the market. And they are here. So it's a lot easier for us to catch up with them.